They did it. I'm mind blown. Anyway, here's Project Faerthale. This time, for real. As soon as the stream started, we were greeted immediately with a new hotbar featuring 8 locked action skills and then 6 passive or buff style utility spells at the top. This is huge for me, but we'll talk about this later as we get into the spellbook and ability modification section. Of course, while the skill bar caught my eye, nothing could be more eye-catching than the beautiful land of Faerthale. Laying my eyes on the beautiful spectacle of seeing it in full motion and being in the world was simply mind-blowing. The world truly felt alive, full of color, full of brush and leaves and bushes, but color and life was the thing that stood out the most. Most of the time in game development, we don't get to see the early stages as much as we get to see with Pantheon. Being a crowdfunded game, they're more willing to show us how it's progressing in order to secure more pledges. In this, we were able to see the concept art come to life. It's absolutely stunning to see how much they were able to replicate that of a drawing, something in someone's mind, almost purely, with what appeared to be no sacrifice. The perception system has been one that has made Pantheon a standout from modern MMORPGs that we're accustomed to, and in this demo we were treated with some of the perception cues as well as the storyline progression within it. And perhaps even more stunning was the ability to really manipulate how you answer these questions and how you progress the story for yourself. It was detailed during the stream that they will not be gating any kind of leveling or progression behind perception, but perception will be something within the world that we can engage and really fall into to feel a part of the world. Perhaps the centerpiece to the entire stream in this area of Faerthale was the Spriggan, who had sacrificed herself and buried herself into the land to be one with it. In this section of the stream, we were able to see how this was created and the importance they took in the beauty and lore of the world. We were able to see it from concept through various stages and implementation in the game. As I've said before, this is not something we typically get to see, and it is amazing to see how the devs work, think, and drive their passion of design, replicating exactly, again, what is in their minds and hearts for the world of Terminus. Often discussed on prior CohhCarnage streams, this time, Cohh was able to actually go into first-person camera view. And in this view, rather than just being in first person, it actually showed the ability to see the hands of the player character, as well as the weapon they were holding. While it was announced as a work in progress, it would be very exciting to see how this develops in the future. This next part of the stream, I left a little bit of the content in. You're going to actually see a lot of the new Living Codex. In this Living Codex, you're going to get to see a ton of Shaman spells, so feel free to slow the stream down and watch as Cohh goes through each and every one of the spells in the book. Now, I've sped it up so that you're not watching this video all day, but more importantly, it'll slow back down here as we look at the spell modification system. In the streams, Cohh was given the ability to upgrade various spells, and you could see as it was upgraded, it took more ability points and also increased the power of the spell significantly as you continued through the progression of the modifications. This is where I also wanted to take some time and talk about the unlimited versus limited skill set. This is a topic we've covered multiple times on Pantheon Plus U and in different opinion videos, and I've been very, very clear that my heart is set on a limited skill system. As we've noted in the beginning of this video with the 8 skill hotbar and the 6 skill utility bar, this does say that VR is moving forward with a limited skill action set. They detailed this a bit in the stream, saying that right now they're at 8, but that could perhaps change in order to expand or subtract. My guess would be only expand, as the art and the interface setup is easily able to manipulate into more or less spells. Now that being said, I just wanted to take this moment while we're looking through the spell modifications to say that this is huge. If you've noticed that there are a lot of Shaman spells in this book, and if there's that many spells and we don't have a limit, we're going to be heavily faced with skill bloat. With the limited action set, this creates a unique loadout which allows you to take multiple classes of the same and have different unique roles, or possibly different unique responsibilities. I absolutely love this, and this was probably the biggest takeaway from the stream for me, with the exception of how beautiful everything was, of course. I'm curious to know what you think of this, but I've been very, very clear. Limited action set is the way to go for Pantheon, and this excites me greatly. Okay, now I'm going to openly admit this, and I've said this in many different games I've played. When jumping from island to island in the Island of Infinite Storm, I got queasy. I don't know what it is, perhaps maybe my slight fear of heights, but when jumping and looking down into an endless abyss, my heart was actually racing watching Ko jump from platform to platform. It really added an interesting element, and I could already start to think about former guildies that would be falling to their death. While some people may not like jumping mini-games or platforming, it seems to fit very well in Pantheon with the climbing system and the overall climate system that we would see in just a few moments. Now that we've made all the jumps and we've actually entered the battle arena of the Island of Infinite Storm, we were greeted with concept art through development, through every phase, seeing small improvements over time and how the zone was developed. Once again, this is something we would not typically see in the development of our favorite games, but again, being crowdfunded, team at Visionary Realms has given us this insight to show that they are using the pledge money and our passion in moving forward to develop an amazing game. But the beauty of the area and the fear of what was to come was just a small taste of what we would see next. If I had to put money on it, I didn't think we'd see what we'd see next. As Ko walked into the arena, the Sleepless One pulled him in close, threatening him and attacking him immediately. But it wasn't just that. He threw him back to the beginning of the zone and initiated an extreme climate system where the winds were blowing rapidly, helping defend his Island of Infinite Storm. From here, Ko would have to actually traverse the jumping puzzle at the beginning once again. However, now he was being pushed by wind back and forth across the rocks, making the jumping system previously even more terrifying. After reaching the area to begin the battle once again, the Sleepless One again threw him with bursts of gale winds, knocking him back off the platform to start once again. This is where Joppa would step in to explain the acclimation system, to try to combat the bursting winds that were affecting the fight and pushing Ko all over the screen. Ko would then activate a rune which he was given earlier in the stream, and it would equip itself into his acclimation system. At this point, while still being blown around by wind, it was much more manageable now, and the bursts were just slight pushes instead of throwing Ko around the map. This small taste of the acclimation system indeed showed that it'll be very important in the world of Pantheon, and really the first time we saw it in action. It was pretty incredible to get to see this pre-raid environment in its early stages, and I can only wonder what it'll be like to take this boss down in the future. Finally, we were showcased a gray box model of the newest zone, the Murk. In this, we were able to see how Pantheon creates and develops their areas before applying all the bells and whistles. Joppa explained that it isn't hard to know if something would be fun before you would actually design it fully. In this, we were pretty amazed at the size of the Murk. For being what is known as a sub-zone or a dungeon-like zone, it was pretty massive in size, and it looks to be multi-tiered similar to what we've seen in Amberfate. It was really interesting to see this early of a concept of a zone, again something we wouldn't normally see if this wasn't a crowdfunded project. It really was exciting to see how they think when they design, and I think that's a big takeaway I hope everybody can take with them, in knowing that this team is really putting their everything into designing every little detail so that when we do get to step foot in Terminus, it'll be absolutely outstanding. So I hope you enjoyed my small, quick recap of the Ko stream. Hopefully this is easy to take in if you didn't have a whole lot of time to watch the full stream. That said, as I said in the beginning intro, I do appreciate Ko and VR for allowing us to use this footage. I do recommend watching the full stream, however, because while I can provide you some insight and show you some of the highlights of the stream, hearing the developers speak about the project and hear the passion in their voice is well worth the time it takes to hear. Please don't forget, this is a crowdfunded game. And while a lot of people out there may tell you that $5, $50, $100, or whatever may not matter, every dollar goes to helping the team complete their goal in getting Pantheon out to launch. The quicker, the better, and the more we're able to donate and pledge to this cause, the quicker we will see the game come to life. I hope that if you've loved this stream and followed it, you'll be willing to help them on their journey. I am not a paid endorser, I'm just a huge fan, and I've put my own personal money forward to help development, even though it may only be a small bit. Thank you for watching, and I hope you guys are still excited, as always, for Pantheon, Rise of the Fallen.